the local cops are your best source of information. They got their finger on the pulse of what's going on in the neighborhood and who are the bad guys. Because you go to a neighborhood and it's like you talk to the beat cop that's working that particular beat and say, who are your knuckleheads? They know. You know who the knuckleheads are. So you guys are the best information, kind of in giving the information. What really makes it, I think, stands out ATF from a lot of different agencies is that we don't sit there and just take the case and say, hey, thanks a lot, Eric. See you later. Bye. We're like, okay, Eric, we're gonna work this together. We'll work the investigation together as opposed to just taking the case and running off with it. That's not the way that ATF it made its bones over the years. That's not how I was taught by the senior agents that I worked with. They taught, you know what, they're your source of information, and one thing you never do is you never step on them. And that's how I kind of ran my entire career. It's like you work with the state and local. They don't work for you. You work with them.
Yeah, the FBI is probably the only one that really steps on our toes. It's they're the ones that they want to take credit for everything that we've done and basically crap on you after the fact. But the thing is they get they're the abusive husband. They give you all the money, they give you all this stuff, these cool toys, but at the end of it they slap you again. It's all right. I'm still taking credit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trust me. Don't get me started on the working with. I've worked with the FBI too, and it's hard to work with them because all the time it's like, no, you're working for them. So it's like,
yeah,
I got a lot of stories, but we'll save that for a different day.
All right. Okay. So Don, you're ATF. You're up in Michigan. You've gone through training. And now there's a whole realm of things that the ATF does: alcohol, tobacco, and firearms. And you get to, I don't know how it works. Do you get to specialize in one? Are you a jack of all trades? But as you get going, what was appealing to you within the agency? I'm sure there's all these different jobs, just like in police. So for people wondering, like, Levine, what are you talking about? Like, you could be a canine officer in police. You can go be a SWAT guy. You can go be a narc. You can be vice. Any of these things. How did that work for you, Don, in ATF?
Well, for me in Detroit, I focused most of my time on guns and drugs and going after following the gun, because we were able to show wherever we had gun violence, there was narcotics involved, and wherever we, DEA or the local narcs got dope, guess what was there? Guns. So I really focused on that, and then working with the gangs. I actually did a little bit of tobacco work, tobacco smuggling cases from Kentucky to Detroit, but I really honed in on our bread and butter, the firearms, because that's what's causing most of the issues in the cities. Drugs, yes, big issue, but the violence, trying to stem that flow of the illegal firearms coming in, or guys that are selling them on the black market. So that's what I really focused my time on, and that's the path that I wanted to take. When I was in Detroit, then ended up going to Washington, D.C. through our headquarters, do some program managers, then came out to Chicago as a group supervisor, and I was actually overseeing our firearms trafficking group. And one of the things they did, working with, I had Chicago police assigned to me. We had Illinois State Police, Cook County DEPs, and we were just all doing investigations. But it was all, when I got there, it was one man, one gun cases. The PD would arrest somebody, felon in possession. They'd give it to us, and we'd write that case up to the U.S. Attorney's Office. And I'm like, that's like digging a hole in wet sand. As soon as you scoop it out, just fills in. It really doesn't. You're not making a dent on a guy who's got a 10-year-old, a narcotics conviction, and he's caught with a gun, unless he's a real shitbird. But need to go after who's bringing the guns in. So basically, we were doing about 100 defendants a year before I got there in my first year. So we're meeting with the supervisors, and we're basically talking about, what we're going to do for the following year. I said, yeah, we're going to look to do like 10 or 15 defendants. And they're like, wait, what? Yeah, I want to do like 10 or 15 cases, but it's basically going to be, who are those individuals that are bringing the guns in? That's what I want to focus in on, not the one man, one gun thing. Who are the individuals that are going down to the pawn shops in Kentucky, or who have cousins in Alabama that would drive down on the weekends, have them buy 4 guns for them. They turn around and bring them up to the streets of Chicago, and they're being used in crimes, 2 days later. That's the important stuff, and that's what I really, honed in on.
Okay, so while you're chasing after these guns and the guys that are doing the dealing and the bigger buyers and stuff like that, um, what exactly are you what exactly are you focusing on? Are you looking at the just taking guns across state lines? Are you looking at people that are like smuggling? Because when people think of smuggling, we always think of outside the country into our country or vice
Mhm.
versa. We don't really consider smuggling state to state or anything like that.
Right.
So when you're doing this and you start digging into them, how are you how are you evaluating this? Is I guess what I'm getting at.
Yeah, we would look at, where the guns were coming from. And in Illinois, we were our own worst enemy. Vast majority of the guns that were recovered in Chicago were coming from the suburbs of Chicago. There were no gun stores in Cook County. They had outlawed those.